Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel in 2026. I hope you've had a nice break over the Christmas period and looking forward to the new year. And I pray that whatever's going on in your household, that things will get better than what they are and stay as good as they are. so there you go. Anyway, we've been away for a few days up in the Riverland where my wife comes from, in Renmark in South Australia. And I took with me this camera here, which I'm just going to, this is going to be just a little bit of an introduction, and I'm going to be progressively adding to this little video as I go, as I get further along the way. But just prior to Christmas, I did flag that I'd received this camera. Basically, it was given to me as a gift, and it's a beautiful camera. There you are. It's the Zeiss Ikon Contaflex Super is what it's called. It's got a lovely case. It's basically, from what I can gather, is pretty much in mint condition. And it's the light meter works. Everything seems to work okay. There are, however, some idiosyncrasies with it. When I first got it, I couldn't work out how do I get the back off, because this back doesn't open in a conventional way like they normally do. But you've got these little levers down the bottom here that you pull them out. I'll just pull them out like that, and then you twist them, and then you pull this whole I'll push it back down again. Anyway, you got those little things, you pull them out, and you pull them out from here down the bottom, and this whole section here, this assembly here, pulls out. This whole base plate here comes out, and leaving and I'll show you this when I've got a film in it. When I finish the film, I'll show you how to unload it, because I've got to work out how to do that first, and then I'll show you how to load a new film into it. So I've got a film in there at the moment, and I've taken about what's that, about 17 shots, I suppose. I took some here and some up in the Riverland. So it's a very unique sort of a camera. And the interesting thing is that you can get different lenses that just basically clip onto the front, and there's about 5 or 6 lenses you can get. And but one of the traps I fell into the other day was I didn't realise that, and how you get these lenses off, there's a little button down here, this little red button here. You press that and then you just screw the lens off. And I didn't realise it, but it's a bit of a trap for young players, because I was out, and you'll see some photographs later on, hopefully, of this little artificial lake that's built into my relative's property up in Renmark. And I was wandering around there just taking some photos with this camera, and I put the camera down on the ground. You'll see a photo of it afterwards, sitting down on the ground, just for some shots. I like to take shots of my cameras, and I've got one of the ones that I took on that occasion sitting here with my phone, sitting here on the computer here. I could probably just turn it around for you. Let's have a look and see. I'll just reverse this here. Oh no, it won't let me reverse that while I'm filming. Anyway, trust me, I might show you that afterwards. So just bear with me for a second. I just want to straighten this up a bit. Okay, that's better. So basically so I put this down on the ground, took some photos, and then I picked it up and I walked on a bit further, and I started to focus it. You focus the camera, it's got a split image rangefinder, and you focus the camera with these little levers on the side here. You see how that moves? I've got one on this side and one on that side. And you sort of move them like that to do your focus. And you've got a split image viewfinder in the window. And I realised, looking through it, and I realised that the split images weren't coming together, and I was getting a very blurry image. And then I looked at it and I realised that the whole front part, this lens part, had actually come off somewhere. It wasn't there. And I must have bumped it when I put it down on the ground, or before I put it down on the ground, must have bumped that thing there, and it fell off. And I thought, oh no, surely I haven't lost my lens. So I retraced my steps, and sure enough, about 20 feet, 30 feet back from where I was standing, there was the lens sitting looking at me on the ground, on the dirt. There was only water that far away, so it could have gone into the water. That would have been a disaster. So just a little heads up on that one. If you've got one of these, be careful with that little button down there, because that lens comes off very easily. Anyway, I'll show you the photo afterwards that shows you what it looks like when it's off. So it's a fantastic little camera. There are different ways of controlling it. You've got a little match needle meter here, and you might be able to see that little match needle meter there in the middle there, in that little window just there above my finger there. That's where you can look at that, and you can also see through the viewfinder, you can actually see the similar thing on the other side. So to set the ISO on here, it's a bit tricky, because this is where you set your ISO on this knob here. And to actually change that, serves two functions, this knob, or a couple at least anyway. This is a sort of a multi-function type camera. You can make different settings using different knobs and whatever, and dials. But on here is where you press the center part down, and then you move the outside ring to change your ISO on there. But also this is used to, when you are using this, I might just be able to show this here to you. You have the, at the moment I've got this set on a 60th of a second on the front dial, and then you've got the aperture settings, and then you've got a depth of field scale at the back there. So if you can just see that there, you might be able to see on the lens barrel there. See those different settings there? So if I move this knob up here, which is what I was showing you here, if I move this knob here, you'll see what happens on the barrel. Just watch the lens barrel if I move this knob. See how it shifts the whole thing? So you can actually set the, you can choose your, what do you choose first? You can choose your shutter speed if you like, and then adjust this to get your aperture that you want. And also you can then use this to work out whether your exposure is correct or not, or whether you need to change the shutter speed. You change the shutter speed just simply by this knob on these knobs here on the outside. You can see those there on the outside there and over there, and so you can actually change the, where are we? Change the shutter speed by doing that, and see how things are moving when I do that. This is a bit like the Yashica Minister D, which I've reviewed on this camera before. It's a very useful way of doing photography. So you've got these various controls. You've got your focus there, split image viewfinder. You've got your feet scale up on the top here, showing how many feet you've got. Now the interesting thing is that this particular model, this dial for your ASA or ISO is set for ASA, but the old system in Europe, they used to use the DIN system, and I noticed on one of the tutorials on YouTube that this was set up. This has got ASA on here, on this little dial here. It's got ASA, I think, there somewhere, and but on the other ones that are made elsewhere and used overseas in Europe, I think they this was made in East Germany, I think, and or Western Germany. I'll correct that afterwards. But some of the ones I saw on YouTube doesn't have ASA. It's got DIN. So this is set for 400 ASA, and the thing is that the settings on here, they're not exact settings. So you've got the various ASA settings that you've got on here are 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, 320, 650, 1300. So you've got and they've got little graduations in between. So if you can see the little graduations in between there, you've got to work out what 400 looks like, and because there's no actual 400 written there. So I've worked it out that if I've got that set on about where are we? I've got that set on the middle point between 320 and 650. The middle point between 320 and 650, and I've worked out that's probably 400 ASA or ISO. On the other ones, 27 is the equivalent of 400 ASA. and they actually have they have it in the 27 numbers, the DIN numbers. So 27, you can easily set this. If you've got a 400 ASA or ISO film in here, you can easily set it on the other versions of this by just setting it to 27. So anyway, it's just a little bit of an idiosyncrasy. This is your little window here, your selenium cell that operates the meter. It doesn't run on batteries. This is an entirely mechanical camera. And so I've been having fun with it. It's got a f2.8 50mm lens on the front here, and you can get these other lenses that go. There's already a chap from Western Australia who saw my original video on this. He said he's got about 3 or 4 of those lenses, which he bought at an auction. so I have corresponded with him, and I might talk to him a bit more about that after I've finished reviewing this camera, to see whether he wants to part with them or whatever. So anyway, that's another story. So you've got the normal rewind cock on here, but yeah, so when you open the back, as I say, to put the film in, it looks the same as you put the film in much the same way as you do in an ordinary camera with the back open, but the only thing is that you then you can't close the back, you just got to slide the back on to the front there. Now one of the other interesting things is that this camera is designed, and you can get for this camera interchangeable backs. You know how if you use a medium format camera, and I used to find this with the Pentax 645 when I did weddings, that it's a bit of a laborious, a slow process to quickly change one film to another, particularly when you're only getting 15 shots to the roll on medium format. So it was good to have a few magazines loaded up, ready to slot in and slot out in the middle of a shoot. Now, this camera was designed with much the same thing in mind, because I could never photograph a wedding with this camera, because this process of getting the film back off and putting the film in is too slow. But the idea was that you had these extra backs already loaded up, and then you could just pull this one out and put that one in. And there's a dark slide, the same as you have in medium format cameras that you use as well. So interesting, you can interchange colour and black and white and whatever using the interchangeable backs. But I don't know that I'd go down that track. The reviews I've said of other people, they said it was more trouble than it was worth to do that. So there you go. That's a bit so far on this camera. I'm going to give you some more info on it and show you the actual mechanics of getting the back off and taking a film out, loading a new film in, winding it on. You can actually you can actually set the counter on here by rotating that dial. And all of these things have different functions. Just about everything on here's got a different function. And you rewind the to rewind the film. I think I haven't worked this out yet, but there's a normal rewind knob that does it sit up there. Hang on a second. Here we go. There's an ordinary knob like that you can rewind it with, but apparently you can't. I don't think, and I haven't worked this out yet. You've got to actually set that position there to the rewind position. See, it's got an R there, and you've got to actually, I don't know whether it looks better that way, you've got an R setting there, so you've got to shift that knob to the R setting before you can actually rewind it. So anyway, that's so much so far on this camera. I found it's rather beautiful thing to use. It's very chunky, and it's just an amazing build and engineering built into it. And you've got other functions under here, which you've got a setting here for you've got a self time. You can also, what did I read that someone said you can do on it? Anyway, I'll go back and I'll look at that later on, and I'll add that to the next part of the video. But these little settings down here are quite good as well. You can use them for multiple different functions. So there you are. It's a fascinating camera, and I'm really enjoying learning how to use it. I don't know what the future of it will be with me, whether I hang on to it. It's one of those things you don't want to let go when you get hold of something like this, but I might sell it. I'm sure there'll be buyers for it, and they sell for a good price, I think. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Like if you like, or I shouldn't say that yet because I haven't actually finished this video. So to be continued. See you later.